happy for the monk outfit.
Well, he eventually met a priest at a parish, a very highly respected priest.
Sure. All right, moving on. Because I just wanted to relate. At least there is, that foundation is what they're showing me is, and again, I think they're apologetic. I feel the energy feels like a lot of apologetic energy because of that fact. Because there's such divide and separation, and we unfortunately we fall in line with the programming and fall right into it ourselves, or we see it for what it is, and we don't allow that in our life. Um, and but unfortunately, sometimes you're. I mean, it's like the dietitians. Come on, they've been so blackmailed and compromised. They don't even know what truth is. They're like, maybe I did do that, or those false confessions. You
Hmm.
talk somebody into it enough, and it just becomes the way of who they are, a way what happens rather against their own actions. It's a crazy, messed up world. And so a lot of apologies. And well needed at the same time, because if we can just get past that and move on, it really does lighten our load. um Again, because I don't believe that we carry DNA to the point that that makes us who we are, but rather the emotional attachment to that family line certainly guides us and makes us do things. So all right, moving on now. I got someone who, did you have a close friend that passed away in a motorcycle accident?
A what?
A motorcycle accident?
No. I mean, I've known people that have passed in motorcycle accidents, but nobody close to me.
My nose is itching like he's all coked up. Um, I mean, serious itch. You know that itch? Do you only do coke? Not that I know personally, but you
Mhm.
watch him, and that's what he's showing me. He was all fucked up.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Wow.
You would think I've been a biker since I'm 16 years old, that there would be somebody like that in my
Ah!
life. It's usually
Oh my
a
god.
natural assumption, but no. Mm-mm.
Well, let's just see who he is. Am I coming through like that? He literally came on a bike and then crashed, and then he just made my nose itch because he was all fucked up. And his name begins with a B, or like Brando is what they called him. Brandon or Brando, something like that. Um, all right, so I don't know where he's going with this, because he just laid it down. Um, he keeps just showing me his accident. Maybe is there someone else in your house?
Actually, no, I'm here. I'm in the house by myself.
All right.
My husband is outside.
Would it be anybody your husband knows?
I've been with him for 25, 26 years, and if there was, no.
All right, because this guy is making me feel like he. And again, I don't want to say that it's like recent because I don't feel recent at all. He's not dressed like it's recent. The motorcycle doesn't look recent, even though his sign is like an Indian motorcycle. Um,
Hmm.
um, he's talking about crossed and pathways and all right. I don't know how he belongs, but he's he's right there. Well, I'm like, okay, moving on. If she's not taking you, we'll put you to the side. But He's talking definitely about crossing. I don't, he was in a motorcycle and paths. Watch pathway. I don't know what he's trying to say. I don't even know if you can't take him who and he's not telling me who he's related to. And just making sure there's like nobody even around me. If you can't take him, I don't know, but he's like seriously just talking about crossways and pathways, and
Believe me, if I can claim him for you, I would,
I know.
because I know how that is. Sucks.
Yeah. It's like, wow. I mean, and again, sometimes people come through because they see an open doorway. Um, Maybe he's related to somebody that's here waiting for you. Uh, you know what I mean? Could know one of your other family members even, and he's just waiting. He's here to talk to them. But dude, this ain't your time. that's that's the case. Moving you on. Right. So just know though, if anybody that you know in your life, of people that are your loved ones that have crossed over, if they knew of anybody like this and they still
Yeah.
have family, hold on
Mm,
to that for them. You might
yeah.
come in a conversation, you know what I'm saying, and you don't. Then you go, oh, Solana said there was this guy,
Right.
and it looks like an Indian, very proud of his bike. Okay. But okay, so moving him over, and again, name begins with a B. Um, so all right, all right. So I'm just gonna move and on up and to see where else they want to take me here. Um, are you planning a trip?
Yes.
They're showing me you're traveling. Now, are you driving or is it by boat? What are you planning? You driving there and then getting on a boat?
Oh, that's interesting. That could be that's a yes and a no and a yes and a no.
Isn't that funny?
One of the conversations, one of those 5 conversations I was having with my husband right before I got on with you, talking about taking a cruise.
Oh wow.
And the other thing is we go north every year for a
Hmm.
couple of weeks. So we were talking about that because our time frame for going
Oh
up may be changing.
wow. Okay. That's funny. Again, things that are happening right there, and they're just taking me. And you should do the cruise. Let me tell you, that would be fun for you. Can I
Yeah.
come?
I always swore that I would never go on one because of, claustrophobia, just fear in general. And last March, I actually got talked into going on a 7-day cruise because it kind of fell in my lap. So I went, and it was absolutely wonderful. And my
Oh,
husband's never been on a cruise, so talking about doing like a 3 or 4 day cruise kind of a thing.
nice. Okay. So yeah, do both.
So that's why I said yes,
Yes and
no,
no.
yes,
Yes,
no.
no. Yeah, because you're like, well, we're talking about it, but
Right,
well,
and one of the cruises, because we live not far from the Port Canaveral,
right.
you know. But one of the cruises we were talking about that I just had a conversation with my friend Sally earlier today is a cruise that goes out of Tampa,
Uh huh.
which would be driving to get
Hmm.
onto a boat.
Right. Okay, love spirit.
Glad I could help you out on that one.
Right. Oh, and ask Sally. Did you say her name was Sally?
Hmm.
About the motorcycle guy. Um, but in any case, do the trip. I mean, it'll be good for you. Yeah, it'll be good for you. I always look because sometimes those trips can be a little like, like you said, you have issues with claustrophobia, but if you get a stateroom and not a compact room,
Yeah.
it'll be
A
better. A
balcony room, yeah.
balcony, yep, get a balcony.
Mm.
Um, so are you talking about going to not, it's like the islands, St. Croix, St. Thomas,
No.
because it looks like a bunch of little islands.
Um,
And I don't mean, when I say bunch of little islands, of course we know that those islands aren't little, but they're like compacted together. So,
right. No, actually, the cruise that we were just talking about that leaves out of Tampa goes down to the Keys
mhm.
and then over to Cozumel, Mexico.
Okay. Hmm. So you'll be going,
Then and there.
right?
Well,
Well,
Keys, I
yeah,
guess.
they are.
Keys has one, right?
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah, I was going to say the Keys are little islands.
Yeah, I've
Um,
never been there, so I have no idea.
yeah, no, they're little islands. I mean, pictures. Just I've never been there. But in any case, it'll be good. I would definitely not worry or put any kind of anxiety on yourself for what might happen. It'll be a good, smooth trip. You'll have fun. You'll come back. You'll be, happy you went. Um,
Hmm. I agree.
all right. So, do you have any questions for me while we're here in this energy? Because I know I've only got a few more minutes. But I feel like you just had a bunch of people showing up that didn't. You don't get to always come through, but and talk to us. But at the same time, you do have a lot of people there that are.
Right. Yeah, lots, unfortunately. I have lots of people
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Um, well, what was interesting is when you first put up this about the readings, and then you gave me two dates to select from. I selected that Wednesday, the 17th, for a specific reason. It was my dad's birthday.
Oh,
And we ended up talking politics.
right.
So I thought it was
Which
kind
might have been what
of,
your dad would have done.
yeah. Well, no, my father was, no. So it was, I was hopeful that since it was his birthday and because that was the dates that you had available, and you said, and I kept telling people, I told you as well, I'm a very difficult person to read because of who I
Right,
am,
right.
you know.
Yeah.
So, and you said, no, something is telling me I had to pick you.
Mm-hmm.
And gave me my father's birth date. So I'm like, there it is.
Oh,
So maybe that is why, but
right.
then nothing actually happened as far as that's concerned, and
Yeah.
it would have been nice if he had come through today, but yeah, it is what it is.
Well, and again, I think that even when we have expectations of, what might happen, or things are just leading us to the point that hey, I'm supposed to connect. I'm supposed to do this, and
But
and I think
mhm.
that the first encounter we had on that day was much needed. Because you have to be able to release what you're going through and release how crazy the world makes you, and
Well, the conversation that you and I had that day, it's not an uncommon conversation for me.
mm,
My husband and I talk about stuff like that all the time. I have a couple of friends that, we have those conversations and, so it's not like I was like bottled up and I needed somebody to
no,
express that.
right.
Yeah, but
But just to
it's just,
sound off, just to soundboard, and let yourself know that you're not, just crazy and just yourself, and just you thinking those things, and because
mhm.
it's real talk, real people, real talk. That's,
Mhm. That's the only kind of
yeah,
people I deal
yeah, that's only But yeah,
with.
so I'm glad though that he at least came through. He was the first one to come through today. Come barging through. He had to push his way through, but he came through, and showed up for you. So even though it wasn't on his birthday, it was
Right.
only.
And it's interesting that it was my mom that apologized and not my dad,
Mm-hmm,
because my dad is the one that owes the apologies.
mm-hmm,
If you can
yeah,
actually say it's an apology.
yeah,
Um, as far as my mom is concerned, I'm just trying to go over things that you said right
sure.
now, and the apology with my mom, and you kept going back to the religious aspect of it. Um, I might be able to connect some dots for you that way. Um, okay, although we were Roman Catholic, and you had to do your catechism and, get your communion, your confirmation and things like that. That was really the extent of the religious aspect from my family. We didn't do church and all that other happy horse pecky, and I still don't do it because I don't believe in organized religion.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
but ever since I was little, I used to, tell my mom, well, so-and-so told me this or I saw that. And she would tell me, stop, people don't think you're crazy. And she shut me down. So, which I guess is kind of a normal reaction,
For that time, especially.
Yeah, for that time. However, a very good friend of the family informed me probably about 6-7 years ago. I still actually have the email that my mother is where I get my abilities from. My mother was very, very powerful in her abilities, I guess you could say. Very powerful, very, very strong. But being who she was, where she came from, and the family she came from, all those things.
Literally consider the
Yep.
devil if you even say that you're seeing or
Yeah.
talking to.
Very, very taboo.
Yeah.
But I'm really kind of surprised by that. Because her mom, although she spoke this much English, I just always got the sense that her mom would have been okay with it. And then when I came into mine and realized, battling and everything else, blah, 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 I'm an adult, blah, blah. And I finally decided to share it with my mother, and I was fully ready for her to tell me, you're crazy, you got to have your head examined, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget it. She loved bingo. And I was down on Long Island visiting, and we were going to bingo. And I white-knuckled it and said, hey, Ma, do you believe that there are people that can see spirit and talk to spirit? And she said, spirit, because, different times. She said, you mean like ghosts? And I said, yeah, like ghosts. And she said, yeah, absolutely. So deep breath, because I was really shocked by that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what if I was to tell you that I'm one of those people? Hold on to that steering. And she was very happy at it and immediately spun her head like a Linda Blair kind of spin and said, really, does Grandma ever talk to you?
Wow. That would be your first question.
And I'm getting goosebumps even just and I sat and I thought about it. And I'm like, wow, that's like, I think it was in my 40s or no, not even my 40s, my late 30s when that happened. And I thought to myself, I've been hiding this from her all these years out of fear. Only come to find out she's okay with it.
Yeah.
And then when our friend let me in on her little secret long after she had passed, when I read the email, I came out of the office and went straight to my husband and I said, I'm blown away. I was shocked. I was surprised. I was angry. I was hurt. I was happy. I was everything all in one. And I just looked at him and said, I don't know how to feel right now. It's like, well, what's going on? So he said, you have to come in the office and read this email. Mm-hmm. And he read it, and his response was, oh, wow. I'm like, oh, wow?
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
Wow.
Yeah. No, trust me. Yeah. It shapes your whole world.
Yeah, so I grew up thinking for the longest time that I was sick in the head. I needed a psychiatrist. I grew up at other points thinking that I was going against God. And, and meanwhile, here I had this woman that was my mother at my disposal, I guess you can say, that could have been helping me and nurturing it and so forth, and she didn't.
Wow. That's why she's so apologetic and just keeps referring to it was the times.
That's why I'm saying I think I can connect the dots as far as the religion and the apology. So I don't really think the religions actually had to do with it,
right.
but in a way,
it's just the way they were raised It was
Right.
the way it was: do as I say, not as I do. It was keep your mouth shut. If you're
Right.
talking to anybody who's not standing here physically in front of you, you're possessed. You
Right.
you need
Yeah.
mental help. Yeah,
You're a witch. There's an
yeah. Oh my
Italian
God, yeah.
word for, and every time I have this conversation, I always go back to that word, and then I lose it. It's like strange or something like that, which is Italian for witch. And so I had a conversation with this friend over the phone, and I told him how I was feeling, and he said, because he turns out he was also a medium, and I grew up with him as well, and and he said, in her time, it was very dangerous to talk about that,
Speak out against
and
anything. Yeah.
right, and he said she had probably lived through hell, whenever she opened up her mouth, didn't want you to go through the same thing,
Yeah.
so I can understand that.
Well, she's sorry. She
Yeah.
she's sorry.
That's the only thing I can see my mom
Well, and that's big, because
feeling
if you don't have
about.
support, it's like I always say, if I hadn't had my middle sister Angie with me growing up, who
Right.
reinforced what I was seeing, who reinforced, that my mom was crazy for telling me I was seeing things, and my dad was crazy for telling me I'm, whatever.
Right.
If I didn't have reinforcement,
Right.
what would I be doing today? Who knows? And how
Right.
how it would have impacted my life. And so if you don't,
I
it really,
feel
because again, it's a connection that we dismay. It's a connection that we disregard,
right.
thinking evil because we've been taught that. When
Oh,
it's a more pure relationship that I have with spirit than
right.
I've had with
hmm
anybody.
It took me a long time because, even when I was a teenager in my late teens, early 20s, I would battle back and forth. I would come into it and then, stop it and then
Yes.
come into it and then stop it because I always felt like I was going against God. And there was no way I would ever do that,
Right.
And then one day I helped this woman in ways I can't even express. And I thought to myself, how can helping her go back to God, come back to living,
Yeah.
uh,
How can that be
how could that
wrong?
how could that be wrong?
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I tell my
So
sister who tells me that I'm the devil's spawn. I'm like, if I'm wrong, I don't want to be right.
yeah, yeah, it's definitely an interesting life to lead, no doubt. And I have my sisters both know of my ability, and my little brother knows of my abilities, and they're all on board with it. But my older brother, the eldest of the children, no,
Yeah. That's mine.
no,
Hmm.
that is just,
Yeah. It's the devil. It's the devil's work.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
No,
Rather have
it's
my
not
life
that.
than yours.
No, not that he thinks it's the devil's work at all. It's nothing like that. He just doesn't believe in it. That we're all cons. Like he talked about John Edward when John Edward was still new to TV and stuff, and he said, "Nah, that's all bull. They have a way of looking things up. It's all staged and everything." And if somebody calls you, and you could always look up their name, research them out, and stuff. And
Yeah.
so I would love to be able to say to him, if somebody walks up to me, I don't have a last name. I have a first name. They sit down, and I can tell them things. And I can't. I always thought that I couldn't do that with him, and then the last 2 years, my brother has changed a lot since he's retired. Because my brother is the money person and very and the last 2 years changed a lot, and he was actually here for a visit, and we got into this conversation, and I said to him, "Do you believe in angels?" Because he has read every scripture that's out there. He's read every book on the Bible. He's read the Quran. He's read it all. Like, he likes when Jehovah Witnesses come to his house.
That's
He
funny.
invites them in, and they leave with a page of questions.
Right.
And they've actually had their, I don't know who is, but a higher muckety muck, come back to the house and sit and talk with my brother.
Wow.
And he left with his own thing of questions, and nobody ever visits my brother anymore. So he's well versed on religion and stuff like that, but he has his issues with it.
Yeah.
But So I talked to him about angels and things like that, and his immediate response was no. And then he goes, well, wait a second. I can't really say no. And then we got into an entire conversation about it, and it was really interesting. So I think my brother might be changing his thought pattern just a little bit. He is 60, I think he's 67 or something like that. Wow. And I think when people start getting to a certain age, they start viewing things a little differently.
Sure.
How when you get up there in years, all of a sudden they start going to church and everything. Ron calls it cramming for the finals.
That's a good way to put it.
So yeah. I think my brother might be in that, not so much cramming for the finals thing, as much as it is just starting to say, well, maybe I really need to take a look at this, because TikTok,
right. Yeah.
So, but it's still, I would never have a conversation with him about that. And he's still fairly new to Facebook. Like, he's been on Facebook maybe 2 or 3 years, but he still doesn't know how to maneuver it. So he gets on there, he finds videos, and then he watches videos. But it's really funny because right there on my Facebook page, it says medium. And I'm like, thank God he doesn't know how to read these things.
Right? Because my oldest sister is not even my friend on Facebook. She says she loves Sherry, doesn't like Solana. I'm like, I'm one and the same.
Well, I don't know that sister.
No, it's my oldest sister. You'll never know that sister. That sister doesn't know me.
Right, I know Angie, the other one.
Yeah, well, I have a younger one too, but
yeah, I have a sister like that too. And she's gone. Have not seen from her. And what is this? 2019 since 2001.
Yeah, so
and it's best that way.
It is because I don't need that kind of drama in my life.
Right.
I don't. I don't need her questioning who I am. She knows who she was raised with me.
Right.
She knows the things that I went through, the things she was there. But she made fun of me the whole way.
I understand the whole name thing, the Sherry versus Solana, because like my older brother that I was just talking about, his name is Dominic. He was named after that. But growing up, we always called him Ricky, and don't know why.
Right.
But his name was Ricky, and when he got to that point where he started becoming more affluential and he had money and the wife and everything else, he became Dominic. Mm-hmm. So we call him Dom now. Mm-hmm. So it's like, and every once in a while when you would go to a party and you'd have a couple of beers, it's like, yes, Ricky is back, So, yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, I don't care. That's my life.
It's nothing to do with the name, though, but that's the best way to differentiate. Because it doesn't matter the name that you were born with, the name that you use, and the name that you decide to change it to, or the names that people call you. Right. You're still you.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. Exactly. It's just a name. Exactly. Just like age is just a number, a name is just a word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't take it as my issue. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's her issue. And again, she's just been brainwashed like so many other people. And so God bless them. They know not what they do.
I think it's like the conversation that you and I had last week. It's fear. Mm-hmm. It's fear. Fear
we're all
of
raised
being
up in a fear. Yeah.
Right. Fear of being wrong, fear of, coming to the realization, well, if this is real and this is true and this is a God-given gift and blah, 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 well, then she's close to God and I'm not. I don't have relationship with God. Oh my God, what do I do? And it's just, I really do. I think it's fear. Then you have to realize that everything that you've lived and believed in for the majority of your life has not been true.
Hey, I learned that with my first divorce.
Oh yeah, you and I talked about that too. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, woof. Yeah. But anyway, all right. So I have got to get going, but do you have any other questions or anything that we didn't cover? No?
It's so funny being a reader. Mm-hmm. I always ask people that question.
Yeah.
If you have any questions. And I always tell people, write it down, But I am one of those people that when I do sit with a reader, which is very rarely, but when I do, I don't go with any, with any high expectations or anything. And I come in with no questions.
Yeah.
Because the way that I look at it is, if that question was to be answered, Spirit would have told you.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know,
And that's how I
you know,
approach it. Yeah, I don't. That's what I tell
and
everybody. I don't have
I,
any expectations going in
yeah.
because I don't.
And I always end up with one of those, oh my God, no, what question I should have a question, and then I
Right.
think about these people, and that's why I always say to them, your appointment here. Anytime you think you have a question, write it down, and
Hmm.
then at the end of the reading, if I hadn't touched on it, then we'll discuss the questions. And
Yeah.
I'm very pleased to say more times than not, when we get to that point, they
Yeah.
look at their list and they go, no,
Yeah.
you pretty much got
Yep.
it all,
Exactly. That's usually the way it goes too. But
And so,
I'm polite. I ask.
yeah,
You know.
so honestly, Solana, it's like, what kind of question could you possibly ask? Other than, do you have any messages from me?
Well, and
Well, if
again, and
you
yeah.
already, we're already there. You know, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, the biggie is, well, did they know that I love them?
Hmm.
That's a biggie.
Yeah.
And
Are they
my
happy?
yeah, my first husband's mom, I love her to pieces, and she had taught me a long time ago that when you end a conversation with somebody you love, whether it's in person or on the phone, always end it with "I love you,"
Hmm.
because then that way you never end up with that question. She taught me that many, many years ago,
Right.
and I know you got to go, but I'll tell you real
Oh,
quick.
no.
I had just had Christmas at my mom's down on Long Island, and drove 3 hours back home after Christmas was over. And she made me play the numbers for her. And she forced me to
Mm.
play a number. Here's $1, play a number. So, okay, so I played a number. Well, lo and behold, the number came out straight. Now, if it came out boxed, I really wouldn't have cared, but it came out straight, so I called my mom. My dad answered the phone, which was very unusual. The only time he answers the phone is when my mom's out and about. But she was home. So I talked to him for a couple of minutes, and then he's like, all right, well, let me put your mom on. And while I was waiting for her to come on, I actually looked at Ron and I said, did I say I love you to my dad? And I wasn't paying attention. He said, but I'm sure you did, because you always do. You always, so you must have. And it bothered me. And I was like, yeah, I don't know that I said that. So I finished my conversation with my mom, my dad goofing around in the background. My father was dead 3 hours later. So,
Mm.
the question of did I tell him, there was a reason for that. But I'm very happy that she taught me that lesson, because
Yeah.
anybody that I do, that's the way I end my conversation.
Right.
Even
Yeah.
if I'm mad at them right before I hang, it's like, I love you, but I can't talk to you anymore.
I know.
But that's a big
Uh,
lesson,
yeah.
truly is.
Right. It is, and we should say it more often to everybody. And just put that out there for everybody, even when you feel you pray for them, say I
Mm-hmm.
love you. Send
Yeah.
them that love because we're already in that violent aggression. Just the way the energy goes. I mean, you should be watching the Schumann resonance. They watched her the energy level on the Earth,
Right.
like on 9/11, it was off the Richter scale. It's higher than it had been ever. And so anyway, if you watch it, you can tell the mood of the whole planet, and it's like they're pushing that aggression.
Right.
It's like, oh, I've got to just pray for that to go down. Energetically can be combated with energetically. So keep those thoughts and prayers and love going, because that's what wins the war. Or it's the guy with the bigger gun. I don't know. But anyway.
Right.
But anyway, all right. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to connect with your parents, and I hope that was some assistance to you and helped you. Uh,
Thank you for reading this. I mean, I even said to you, don't even worry about
oh
it. It's
no.
not a big deal, But I know you kind of wanted to do it for your own reasons as well,
Hmm.
and
Well, you
hope.
clearly wanted to hear from your dad, and I'm glad that he was the first one to push. And I'm telling you, he had to push, so he pushed through. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that doesn't surprise me much.
Yeah. Right. That
Yeah.
force. All right. All right, hon. Well, thank you, and I will talk with you soon.
All right. Love you,
All
son,
right.
sweetie. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks.